everybody. I'm Bree.
And I'm Evan.
And this is Reality Check TV.
As usual.
If you are new to our channel, here's where we discuss some of our favorite reality shows to watch together as a couple. So if you love reality TV like we do, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you can get notified anytime that we post a new review.
And don't miss out. We mean right now.
Yes.
Do not miss out.
Yes. For starters, again, church announcement. Our goal this month is to meet 100 subscribers. So if you guys can just do us a solid, and please subscribe. We want to be able to make this very small goal so we can set even a bigger goal for the summer.
So, and it's achievable.
Yes.
It's achievable.
Yes. With the love and support that you guys have been showing us, it would just help.
Greatly appreciated.
Yes. But now that we've got that out the way, we're really here for the show that y'all be watching. That we be aggravated by. And that's Love and Marriage Huntsville. So this episode picks up with Mel going to visit Tiffany and discuss the tea. Give her her official invitation about the tea. But they first start off with talking about last week at the spa disaster and what happened there and where things went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So they just go back and forth about that, and Tiffany just says that she just feels like Kiki was bringing her down to her level. And I'm just like, Tiffany girl, I mean, you know, the option was to just kind of mind your business. That you could have chose that route.
You know Tiffany's allergic to that.
Yeah, she could have just stayed out of it. That could have been one. I mean, just saying. That's always just an option. That's just an option. But you know, I get it, girl. We on a reality show, so you gotta, you know, put your nose in somebody else's business. I got you. But let's not talk about stooping down to somebody's level. Even though Kiki, we gonna get to you later. But Tiffany asked about the birthday party, the girl's birthday party, and how that went. Actually, no, Tiffany didn't ask about it. Mel mentioned how she invited Tisha to the girl's birthday party last week, because Tiffany asked, like, oh, like, I was even surprised that you even came to the spa day. Like, I was shocked because it was Tisha's event. And so Mel says, you know, like, yeah, like, I was going to come. I'm trying to move forward. I've even invited her and her daughter daughters to, I don't know whose birthday party it was. I mean, we've heard so many different things. I think it was her oldest daughter's birthday and the baby.
Yeah.
They got like the same birthday together. So anyways, Mel was bringing up how Tisha's girls and Mel's daughters, that they were close back then. I mean, they pretty much grew up together for the most part. Mm-hmm. So of course they were going to get an invite to the party. And so she was talking about how the party went. And of course we brought up Martell. And how he decided to show up and act a fool. I know that you guys have your opinions, and it's been said that you guys just feel like, you know, Mel is just the devil because she didn't allow her baby father to spend the birthday with the girls, and how dare you? It's about the kids. Whatever. Go back to our last review to see how I feel, because I'm not about to, you know, revisit that conversation. But I said what I said, and I stand by what I said. And if anything, I feel even more passionate about it, about, you know, he most definitely shouldn't have gotten an invite. And it's because of the kids. If it's for the sake of the kids, he shouldn't have gotten an invite to that, because he doesn't know how to be civil. Or an adult. Let's say he doesn't know how to be an adult. So there's that. So she was just filling Tiffany in on him coming to the birthday party and acting a fool. And so then he pops up, acts an ass. Y'all know. And she mentions that after the party was over, she did what she said she was going to do. And that was drop the girls off to their father, so he can spend the rest of the day with his daughters on their birthday. But of course, when they get home, Mel has one of her girls call Martell. So she does. And Mel records the conversation because I don't know which daughter it was, but she was like, hey, Dad, like, are you picking us up? And he was like, nah, I'm going to come get y'all on Monday. So do y'all still feel like he should have been invited to the party? Y'all still feel that way? Y'all still feel like Martell was just thinking about the kids? I truly want to know. Do we still think that? Y'all still think that? Mel mentions how she wish she would have had her children with a man and not a queen. And I'm like, I'm just like, I mean, okay. She also says
Martell was literally just trying to see how far he can get if he can get in that building. First of all, he's trying to see if he can get in the skating ring, which he did. He was going to see what Mel was going to do about it. And obviously, you know, she stopped him in his tracks saying, hey, let me holler at you outside. He knew what was going to happen. Come on now. I mean, the thing is, they don't have a cordial situation. One thing some viewers know, some don't. You're not going to be cordial if somebody take you to court. You're not even going to want to be around them. And so he knew she didn't want him in there. He was just wanting to see how far he can get, use the kids as a pawn. But at the same time, he got to be in Mel's presence. He got to be in her face, that's what he wanted.
Martell's mission for this decade is how can I ruin Mel's life? That is like his sole goal.
It's two things. It's this. I want Mel back. If I can't get her back, I'm gonna ruin her life.
Right. Right.
So it's not fully I'm gonna ruin her life. It's let me see if I can get her back.
Right.
Let me see if she'll forgive me for the 103rd time.
Right.
If not, okay, let me try for the 103rd time to ruin her life.
Right. And make her look bad. Right? Like that's like his goal. So like he'll pull these stunts on camera when we know we're filming because without context, it can look a particular way. Yeah. Not with this birthday party, because off rip, I was always waiting. No, he should not be invited to this. Yeah. But for other situations, on camera, if you have no context, it can look away. Mm-hmm. So to a certain extent, I can even understand people looking at this, especially parents. Because y'all know how parents get. They passionate now. You know how these parents are. I can see as a parent, you have no context. You have not watched this show from the very beginning. And you see this episode and you're like, no, it's not right for the dad not to get an invite to the birthday party. But
like you said, people don't know the context.
Right.
They don't know, what's going on at that time. Like I said, they're not in a situation where some people are cordial after divorce or can literally, be mature enough for the kids to be in the same area and be chill. And that's not them.
So, yeah. So the next scene is the scene that required me to pause, take breaths, pray, then play it again, then pause again, pray some more, and just be like, wow, the strength. And that is the conversation between Maurice and Kimmy.
The good old Scott brothers.
So, Kimmy is in the kitchen cooking. Maurice comes in. They start talking about Monster and his behavior. How he has I'm assuming now Monster has to be knocking at 16 if he's not yet. But he's well into his teen years at this point. He has to be.
Them terrible teens.
Right. So he's a teenage boy. We already can imagine what that's like, right? So there's been some challenges, and they've been kind of going through it. And Kimmy brings that up. Like, she's really been having a hard time with it, of course, because she just got over cancer. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's that. But she's also having to raise this teenage boy that is not hers, right? And she's not getting any support from his biological father, who happens to also be her husband. So it's been extremely difficult. So she voices that to Maurice, which I'm pretty sure this is not the first time that they've had this conversation. I know this can't be the first time that they've had this conversation. But she brings it up to him and says, it's basically her biggest problem is Monster is just not listening to her. Like, he's not taking her serious. She asked him to do things, and he just doesn't do it. He's not listening. And Maurice is also not backing her up. He's not supporting her in it. Meaning, she'll tell him to do something, and he's not even enforcing it, right? Like, there's no consequence there. Maurice response to that is, well, like, you know, if you set a rule, like, you're supposed to follow through with the enforcement. Because, you know, I'm setting rules too, and I have to stand down on enforcing them. So Kimmy's like, so that's not how any of this works. Like, your sole job as a parent is to not only support me throughout all of this, but when raising a child, we're supposed to set boundaries, set rules, and we're supposed to enforce them because we're the parents. We're the parents in the house. We're the parental figures in the house. That's how this works. Your job as his father, especially with a teenage boy, because I think we was harping a lot on just Monster not being biologically Kimmy's, but he's also a teenage boy,
right,
and with a father in the house. So it's truly your sole responsibility to make sure that the rules and boundaries and respect is that the rules and boundaries are enforced in the house, and that respect is key. Like, that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's your job as a father. Part of your job. And Maurice decides to gaslight Kimmy. Okay. He decides to gaslight her and say that, well, you know, I think the problem is whatever. Maybe people should stop doing it then. I think the problem is that it all started with the breakdown in the relationship between you and Kiowa. And we're like, what are we talking about? That has nothing to do with anything. What are we talking about? So Kimmy's like, absolutely not. This has nothing to do with Kiowa. This is about your support for me. Like, it's very simple. If I say, Monster, can you take out the trash? And he doesn't take out the trash, you step in like, bro, didn't Kimmy just tell you to take out the trash? Like, go take out the trash. That's how that works. That's how parenting works. Like, what is the point of having two parents in the house when we have to separate it, where I make my rules and you make your own rules, and we just have to enforce our own rules that we create? And we're single parents in the house with the same child. That makes no.
It's chaos. It's chaos.
Like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? And then the gaslighting. Kimmy was in the kitchen, so the fact that she showed restraint and didn't grab something, scissors, a knife, a fork, something, and just throw it across the room, this is why I do have so much respect for Kimmy, because it's in moments like this where she is so direct, and she's such a excellent communicator. Like, her communication skills are like top notch, right? But I have to ask myself, how did you even marry this? Because of her communication alone, her communication skills alone, and her intelligence. Kimmy's very intelligent and always shows restraint and strength, period. I don't understand how she ended up with this type of person. Like, listen, I am a bonus mom. I am not biologically his mother. So me enforcing rules or me enforcing boundaries, it's only going to go but so far. It takes the actual parents of the child to set those boundaries and really come in when it comes to the enforcement. Like, that is y'all's job, you and Kiowa. I am a bonus mom. And no, he decided to harp on her saying that and made it into something that it wasn't. And then he says, "Well, I'm gonna just call Kiowa," which infuriated me, and that was the moment where I'm throwing stuff across the room. But I'm also not as good of a communicator, I guess, as Kimmy, or I'll say patience. I don't have patience. That's what it is, because communication pretty good there. It's the patience. I don't do stupidity. I can't do stupidity. And this is stupid. This is a stupid conversation, and this is a stupid man. This is a very stupid man. And I'm not going to allow you to manipulate me and gaslight me in this conversation. I'm like not intelligent. I can't allow people to play on my intelligence in this way. So he calls Kiowa, tells Kiowa what's going on from his perspective, and as far as like parenting when it comes to Monster. And Kimmy says, Kiowa, like, I'm trying to explain to him that I need him to support me when it comes to parenting and enforcing rules with Monster. And in trying to get him to understand that there is a boundary, there is a line that I am towing as the bonus mom, because it's up to you guys as the actual parents to enforce these rules and boundaries. Kiowa 100% understands, because she flat out says, like, yeah, no, I wouldn't want you to discipline Monster the same way you discipline Jalen, which is Jalen is her son. She doesn't feel comfortable with that. And I'm not saying, I cannot blame her. That's up, between the parents involved. I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. I'm saying that she said it. We respect it. She's not wrong for feeling that way. No, I don't want you to discipline my child the same way you discipline yours. I'm his mother. That's why I'm here. And his father's there. That's why his father's there. Go ahead.
Well, Maurice just a little
Stupid?
delusional about. He's delusional about his child, because I don't know if he looks at Monster. I guess Monster was different preteen. Maybe Monster listened a little bit more before he was a teen. Maurice may be one of them dads where he doesn't really want to discipline his son. I don't know if he's too worried about looking like the bad guy, looking like some parents don't want to look bad. But it's him raising his sons can go a long way. He has to set things early, discipline early. Like something as little as take the trash out and make your bed should not be that difficult for a 15, 16-year-old.
Well, so let me know if you feel differently, because there was one point when he's talking to Kimmy, I don't think it's an issue of him not wanting to discipline or wanting to enforce rules. The problem is he's not supporting Kimmy when she does it, because he says, I set rules. He's literally said, I set rules and I follow through, I guess. Mm-hmm. Now, does he always listen? Because it can be asked, how is that working? Does he listen? He's like, pretty much no. So yeah, so that can definitely be an issue. But on top of that, when Kimmy is making Monster do something or ask Monster to do something and he doesn't do it, it sounds like Maurice is not coming in or stepping in and enforcing some type of discipline.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's a respect thing towards Kimmy. I feel like he respects Kimmy, but...
Who respects Kimmy?
I mean, I'm saying Maurice from a wife... I don't know. From a wife's standpoint, I think...
You think Maurice respects Kimmy?
I think he respects his wife more than Marsar respects his wife.
Oh, if we're comparing, two idiots, then yeah. But Maurice don't respect Kimmy.
I don't know. There's something with his relationship with Monster, where I feel like he maybe lets him get away with stuff. I don't know, maybe feeling guilty about something, because he did move Monster down to Alabama. I don't know.
You think he feels guilty about that?
I said guilt about something. I'm saying he did move Monster down to Alabama away from his real mom.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Monster wanted to leave.
He didn't.
So
If I can
yeah.
recall, he
So
didn't.
I'm just saying maybe there's something behind the scenes where for some reason he's being more lenient or whatnot. I don't know.
I don't think not on Maurice's stance. Now, if you're saying that that is the reason why probably Monster's having a hard time, then yeah,
Well, no,
I can agree
I'm
with
talking
you with
about Maurice.
that.
I'm just saying at the end of the day, I don't know. He ain't give enough context literally to be like to understand why he's not backing up Kimmy. He ain't really saying anything.
Okay, so the next scene that could have been on the cutting room floor is with Kiki and Kiowa. They go to I want to say it's a Reiki, that's how you say it, a Reiki session. Look it up. It's definitely like a spiritual cleansing session to like align all of your chakras. I've been really looking into it for the past like 2 years. This is something that I want to do so bad. I'm into sage and crystals and just really just clearing the energy and aligning yourself. So this was definitely something that was up my alley. It was just unfortunate that it was with two people that I just don't. I feel like the scene was really forced. So we're not gonna spend too much time on that. It was just Kiki and Stormy. What was brought up was Kiki just saying like, "Oh, like, can you explain the connection between this and I guess Christianity and religion and being a child of God?" And the actual instructor was just saying like, if anybody that has a problem with these types of practices, they don't know the Bible, because all of this is in the Bible, just used and described differently. So ignorance to me, but whatever. At the end of their session, Kiki and Kaya would talk, of course, about the spa fiasco and just Kiki and Tiffany and that tension between them. And Kiki Stormy brings up how Kiki need to basically bring it down because Tiffany is pregnant, so she does need to be mindful of that. Kiki says, well, she should be more mindful of that. She's the one that's pregnant. I don't 100% disagree with that. I said that before with Tiffany just kind of inserting herself into the mix. Like, you are pregnant, so I feel like you should be mindful of that because that's nobody else's responsibility. You need to protect your energy and your baby.
That scene with them two was very random.
Right.
Um, but, I don't know. Like I said, I'm still trying to read through both characters. Some of them have scenes where it's just like, what's your end goal? You're doing a little too much. You're trying too hard. You're trying to make a story. Are you trying to make a new storyline for yourself? You know, it's hard to question sometimes them too about what's real with them. And that scene right there just seems like it was one of those things. Hey, let's bring the cameras out and have a conversation about bullshit and act like we get along now.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I wonder if everybody else is picking up on that, but for some reason, these two are not really landing with me like I thought that they would. And it's really weird because both of them have been on the show before this
Mm-hmm.
season, but I don't know why it's not landing with me. I don't know.
So the next scene after that, we have a scene with Maurice and Martel. It looked like they're in a construction site area. I don't know if Maurice was working. He didn't seem like he was working. I know Martel wasn't. He came suited and booted.
In his tight suit.
But pretty much they were shooting the breeze. Um, Maurice shared with Martel about his concerns about Monster. Monster's a teen now. He's concerned about his discipline. Um, he's done things such as take things away from Monster and have not getting any results. For example, he talked about taking the phone away from Monster. And as y'all know how it goes, taking a cell phone from a teen is like the end of their world. But he said Monster, it seemed like he wasn't it seemed like he was unfazed. All he did was just adjust. And what I'm thinking when he says adjust, maybe Monster is like, okay, shit. Well, I mean, if Monster has an iPad, maybe he just jumps on the iPad instead of the phone.
Because he said,
Okay,
I mean,
my
from my memory, if my memory serves me correctly, he was talking about motivation.
Yeah.
He's not
And
motivated.
he's having a hard time motivating Monster to do the littlest things.
Yeah.
As of in the morning, make your bed, take the trash out, little stuff like that. Because his parents, I just remember as a child, growing up, I was given little chores. Chores are ultimately preparing you for bigger things that you face as an adult, such as bills, going to work, doing adulting tasks. And certain things as an adult you can't be late on doing, or you just cannot say, "Oh, I'm just not going to do that," without a consequence coming. And then while Maurice was talking, I know he was giving advice to Martell. Maurice was telling Martell about the different aspects of a divorce because Martell was voicing up to Maurice too about how the party went and the troubles he's had with Mel, and how he's saying, yeah, the kids, we're good, but it's the divorce, it's Mel that's the issue. And, I just think it's funny every time the two talk because, the main points are always never talked about. But Maurice has gone through a divorce himself. That's why him and what's his wife's name again?
Whose wife?
Maurice's ex-wife.
Kiowa.
Kiowa. Why they're not together no more. He's talking about the troubling task of how to be cordial, having to how to be mature for the kids, and how to get on the same page. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you guys have kids. You guys got to be around each other, and if y'all gonna be around each other, y'all need to be a good example for the kids and show that yeah, mommy and dad, we can function. But it's hard to do that when you have certain individuals acting certain ways. Um, but Martell, he personally, I feel like Martell has not accepted where they're at today. I don't feel he's accepted his responsibility. Yeah. Um, in a weird way, I feel like he's upset with Mel for finding out he was cheating. As weird as it sounds, like, I mean, you don't really tries multiple times out the year to get Mel back. And like I said, if he's not getting Mel back, he's trying to destroy her, make it look bad, use the kids as a pawn. Um, but I just truly feel like when it comes to that window for them to be that cordial, parents after being divorced, like, I don't feel like that's even possible after so much has gone on. Because that's going to take them to be in the same area, the same place. And, you know, you took your ex-wife to court trying to get custody of kids that you do not want custody of. You drag her on social media. For some reason, you're with Sheree to try.
What do you mean for some reason?
Huh?
You know the reason. Because I want to say, Maurice, I will say this one thing that annoys me about Maurice, because there's many, but one is just like he talks like he's leading a panel. Like he's a keynote speaker, right? Because he even talks or gives this horrendous analogy about this random dog that he supposedly had when he was a kid that I don't believe. I just don't believe it, because he was just trying to make a point, because it's like his real job is creating like what do you call it, like those little like motivational board, like what's in the back right here, like he creates those, like he just wants to say like these great quotes that you can take back, like he wants to be so deep so bad.
And what was the dog's name again?
What did he say this dog's name was? Peaches.
I don't believe he had a dog.
He didn't. The dog doesn't exist. Because what Maurice wants to do, and especially with being on Love and Marriage Huntsville, I mean, I think as soon as he found out that this opportunity was coming and he was going to be on a TV show, he just comes off as a person that's like, I want to get as many sound bites as possible. I want to be so deep. Like, I want so bad for people to be like, oh my God, look at like Maurice, like be like Maurice. Like, he's so motivational. Like, we're going to get him to come and do the commencement speech at Alabama. Yeah, like he wants so bad to be that, and it comes off that way. So basically it just comes off like it's so like fake and phony. It just doesn't come off real or genuine. But when he mentions how, again, being envious sometimes about like where would I be if I would have had this if I was his age, because he really wants us to believe that this teenage boy from Michigan, I think they're from Detroit. I feel like the Scots are from Detroit.
I just know Michigan.
Okay. That he was going to take these resources and be just like super motivational and like, you know, a go-getter as a teenager, and pretty much probably like what, the 80s or the early 90s. Like, get out of here. That's not, you aren't doing that. Like, what? It's not a thing. If you had money the way probably Monster has now because of his parents, because of you, if you would have had that back then, you would have been in trouble. And that's exactly what Martell said, because Martell even said and acknowledged, like, he was a hot mess when he was a teenager. But what saved him was sports and ROTC.
Mm-hmm. And he mentioned too that the sports kept him disciplined.
Right.
Some of the discipline of going to work out by himself.
Right.
Getting up for workouts.
Right.
Really being disciplined, taking care of his body. That kind of helped shape his mind as he got older.
And from my understanding, that is what sports do. No matter the sport,
it's supposed to do.
It's supposed to teach you discipline.
Yeah.
Because I also believe that it's super important not only to have your kids involved in some type of after school activity or sports or something like that, but I think it's uber important for you to put your kids, especially teenagers, get them involved with some type of volunteer work, because that will also teach them responsibility and teach them how to be humble and all of these other things. And so I don't know, like maybe look into that. I don't know if he's already involved in something.
Right.
We don't know, but that could also play a part in it as well. And I feel like that's kind of where Martell was trying to get at, because he also was raised by a single mother. So I think having other male figures in other points of his life also helped.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we get the scene of the tea. It's the day of the tea. And Mel decided to bring in a moderator, somebody to lead the discussion of how to have effective communication, right? So we have Miss Carol. Miss Carol is from Atlanta.
And etiquette, by the way.
And etiquette, yes. Because I love etiquette classes. Like, etiquette is very important. And I feel like a lot of you people don't got it no more. It's dead. It's dead. So I'm here for it. I love a good tea. They looked adorable. Everybody really did look adorable, especially Mel. I love the color on you. Tisha looked adorable. It was really cute. Loved it. That's all of the pleasantries. Now let's get to the fake and the phony. The fraudulent behavior. But Miss Nell, y'all know Miss Nell. She's there in her beautiful white, right? Looking pure, looking very elegant. Okay? Ain't got time for the foolishness. And she puts it out there, like, thank you, Miss Nell, by saying, like, well, I want to get down to the nitty gritty. Like, I feel like there's some energy amongst us that has been percolating for a while. And I know most of you women, and most of you ladies here, like, what's really going on? And she said, I'm mainly talking about the energy between Mel and Stormy. And Stormy's mom, oh, I forgot to mention, Stormy brought her mom to the tea. She's the only mother there.
Don't care.
And I feel like that was calculated.
She does not need any camera time.
It was calculated because she's the only mother there. Because you know that your mom supposedly has an issue with Mel. So it was calculated. But okay, Stormy, we see you. You want a scene. Stormy's mom jumps in and was like, well, do you feel like there's something between Stormy and Mel, or Mel and Stormy's mother? And I'm like, lady, Mel doesn't even realize that there's an issue between them. Mel is like literally like, wait, huh? There's an issue with us? I didn't know there's an issue with us. And Miss Nell was like, well, I don't know Stormy's mom. And she was like, I'm assuming that's you. And then I don't even know Stormy's mom's name. I don't care. But she's like, yeah, like, no, well, I'm talking to her or whatever. Like, if I'm responding to someone that shouldn't be talking. And she was just very rude and stank to me. And to me, this showed a lack of etiquette. We're in etiquette class. This is really weird. And Stormy or Miss Nell is like talking, because at this point you can kind of hear a lot of people just kind of whispering and talking. And so Miss Nell is trying to get her word in, and Stormy interrupts and was like, well, Miss Nell, like, you know, in order for her to say what she has to say, meaning her mom, you know, I think it also requires you to basically to be quiet. If because you don't know what's really going on. And it was uncalled for. Y'all did not have to do Miss Nell that way, because that lady was in there in her white, her good Sunday best at etiquette class. There was no reason for you to give that stank energy to that lady. I did not appreciate that at all. That was not it. And you know who also didn't appreciate that? And that was the moderator, Miss Carol. She called Stormy out about that. She was like, now the way you just came at this lady was not, that ain't right. That is not how we do things. That is not etiquette. That was not, no. So Mel jumps in and was like, well, no, like, I really do want to address what the issue is. If you feel like there's an issue, I want to hear you out. Like, what is it? Because I had no idea. And Stormy's mom talks about what I feel like what we said in the season premiere. Apparently, last season, y'all all know, Destiny played a recording of Mel that really was no tea. It wasn't something new that Mel hasn't said before, but just people talking to her about Martell. And so there was a recording of it, and Destiny played it for Martell and like a couple of other people. So Mel, apparently, this is all allegedly, because I don't know, because I do not follow these people on social media, but I guess Mel got online while this was happening or being shown on TV and said somebody secretly recorded her. Somebody that was in my house last week or whatever recorded this conversation. Apparently, people took that, ran with it, and said it was Stormy. This is, I guess this is what happened, y'all. This is not my opinion. This is what they saying had happened. Mel, the problem for Stormy's mom is that Mel did not come behind that backlash and say indefinite that it was not Stormy. That Mel said like it wasn't this person, I guess, that they were saying. Like, she left it still kind of vague and open and didn't come in Stormy's defense, right? So Mel is like, well, you know, people say stuff about me all the time online. And so, like, if I was to sit and address every rumor or every critique, like, we'll be here all day. Like, you know, people are always saying something about me. So I apologize. She apologized. Now, this is the first time she's apologizing in this conversation. This was the first time. She said, I apologize that you're receiving it that way. Like, I didn't mean for it to come off that way. And then I could tell that something was clearly edited out. I'm going to assume, because Stormy's mom then just kind of like gets disrespectful and was like, oh, well, I'm going to shut you down real quick. Like, just shut up real quick. Like, I just don't like the way you do things. I don't like the way you do things.
She wants more camera time.
And so it's just her going off on that. Here's my thing. Here's my opinion. First, I will say I can completely understand not being direct, right? Having an issue with somebody not being direct. I, too, would be annoyed by that, right? Like, I would be annoyed. Like, I just need you to be direct. Like, say exactly what it is. Be real with me. However, this situation, it wasn't that. They are definitely putting 20 on 10. It was not that. And it seems extremely calculated, Stormy, and to your mother. It seems very calculated. It seems like because you are on the show, we all know how the reality show formula works. You are new to the show, so you have to have somebody to fight with. You have to have somebody that is your arch nemesis. You have to have the opposite of you. And I think the goal is to make Mel that person. But the thing is, Mel's not giving y'all that energy. Because once again, in this conversation, Mel apologizes for the second time. And she leaves it there. And I could tell by Stormy's mom's face, she was aggravated by that. By Mel apologizing for the second time.
Well, I mean,
and not feeding into it.
Yeah, Mel didn't want to talk to that woman. She just said, I'm apologize, so you shut up.
I'm not about to give y'all a moment. And Mel is doing that with a lot of the people on the show now. You could tell, like, she's completely, like, disengaging and not giving them what they want.
Right.
And that's where the problem comes into play, I feel like, for Stormy and her mom. Because y'all wanted a moment. Because that's the whole reason why you brought your mom to this tea. Because there was no reason for her to be there. Because you and Mel just had a conversation about this situation in the season premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, bye. Go ahead and, take your mom home. So Kiki, I guess she felt like, okay, this is my moment. It's my turn. It's my scene. So she
more camera time.
So she turns the situation on her. She's like, well, I got something that I want to get off my chest too.
And that nobody cares about.
This is for
nobody
Tiffany.
cares about.
So she goes on and says, like, Tiffany, this is my problem with you. And she goes into that. We know what Kiki's her problem is with Tiffany. She was like, you claiming you don't know me, but you having a conversation with my cousin. And, Tiffany goes on and explains. She was like, Tisha came to my house. I told her how I felt about it. Like, I saw how you was treating her. So I feel like I'm going to put you kind of on ice. I'm going to keep you at a distance, because if you would do your cousin like that, you would do me like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tiffany's stance on it. Kiki wants to find a problem with that. So she then brings up, well, let me school you, or let me teach you a lesson on knowing somebody versus knowing of somebody. And Tiffany was like, no, I don't need a lesson from you. And she was like, no, I think you do. You poor pitiful soul. And I was like, oh, Kiki likes theater. She likes theater. She likes production.
She is so irrelevant.
She likes theater. I see you, girl. You like,
and Tiffany,
you like theater.
I think Tiffany's face be so funny when people come at her. Tiffany really sits there like, I don't care. Like, she literally just sits there. No, seriously. Like, she was literally sitting there with her little hat on and was just like,
her little hat on.
Are you done yet? Like, it's like Kiki put in all this energy and Tiffany's giving her 3%.
Okay. Oh, she's responding, but she has no argument. No. Kiki has no argument, because she was like, knowing somebody versus knowing of somebody. She's like, Tiffany, you know me. My son apparently her son played on Lewis's baseball team. Yeah. I think Lewis does baseball, right? And you've met my family and this, that, and the third. Like, she going down the list, and Tiffany's like, okay. Basically, Tiffany's like, well, let me school you. First of all, I do know of you. I do know that your son did play on Lewis's team for a brief period of time. Mm-hmm. I have met you before, but have you and I sat and had tea? Have we ever went shopping? Have we been on the phone? No, I don't know you like that. I know of you. We don't know each other personally. Yeah. I can't tell. I'm pretty sure Tiffany was like, girl, I can't even tell you your last name. I don't even know your last name. We don't know each other like that. That wasn't good enough for Kiki. She was like, well, if you didn't know me, well, I was the one that was going on this crusade last year to find your father. So they do a flashback scene of when Mel, Tiffany, and Kiki, I guess, were at lunch. And this is when Mel was helping Tiffany find her biological father. Mel brought in Kiki at this lunch because apparently Kiki had some type of connection in Utah. And so that's where that came up. And so Kiki was just meeting up with them to say, like, yeah, like, I know such and such in Utah that may be able to help or whatever. Like, basically, I can point y'all in the right direction. Mm-hmm. Tiffany said that was the extent of their conversation. That was it. There was no follow-up or anything after that. Kiki was really trying to make it seem like she was also a part of the road trip down to whatever is, I think it was another part of Alabama that they did last year. Like, girl,
you were just at the table while they were talking
for a second. And so even Kimmy chimes in and she was like, well, did you follow up? Like, did you follow up? Talking to Kiki. And Kiki was like, I'm not supposed to follow up. Like, what are we talking about? That's her father. That's her father. Like, and then she looks at Tiffany directly in the eye and was like, and yes, I have always known who my father was. Mel was like, wait, huh? Like, wait a minute, wait, huh?
I think everybody was stunned. Everybody was
like, how did we get here?
Where'd this come from?
How did we get there?
Because she has no leverage in the argument. She has to throw a shot. You got to throw a shot.
And Tiffany wasn't even meeting her with that type of energy. I could see if Tiffany was like, bitch, you blah, blah, blah. Like,
but it's that camera
that's
moment.
not.
It's that camera.
Because she likes theater.
She needs to try to create a rivalry. She wants to create a rivalry.
Right.
Tiffany's not letting her have that rivalry.
Kiki, that was so fake and phony. Why'd you do that? That was weird.
And then she tried to retract it, talking about, that's not what I meant. Blah, blah. Yeah, it is what you meant.
Everybody at the table was like, no, that was shade.
That's what you meant. Even Kimmy was like, no, that was shade.
Kimmy was the main one, like, absolutely. That was extremely shady. Like.
And by the way, Letitia was sitting at the table too. And if y'all were real cousins,
yeah,
you would have called your cousin out on that shit she said.
Right.
You would have let your cousin know she was wrong, but.
Y'all, so that was the episode. We gonna end there.
So this episode, it wasn't really too much. I'll be honest with y'all, it's probably 3 or 4 really relevant parts. It ends though with, it seems like the drama continues over the next week with Tiffany, Kiki, Letitia. It goes over. But y'all, we enjoyed y'all today. We do appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Reality Check TV.
Yes.
Don't forget to, as always, to like and subscribe.
Yes.
Hit the comment section because we will respond back. But it's going to get better. The episodes will get better. You have any last words for our viewers?
Just subscribe. Please subscribe and like this video.
So, y'all be sure to watch next week's episode. As y'all know, we will be here to review. But all else, y'all drink y'all water and be safe in these streets.
Yes. Bye.